Hello everyone, and my name is Kellen and I'm from Green Act Lab. And thank you the host and today event organizer. Right, let me introduce our company. And we are the part of the Green Capital Corporation, and with the list on the Nasdaq main market in the US under the stock number is GRNQ. Right. And our company is celebrating in the 12th anniversary this year, and the group is the core business area and cover the digital banking, trust service, asset management, and multiple other financial operations. And we also got the 11 key the financial license, right? As wholly the owner, the subsidiary of the Greenpo Capital Corporation, and GreenX is the world's first digital asset exchange that is both Sharia compliant and the ESG integrated. And GreenX, the position is as the exchange and the focus on the real world assets, mean RWA, alright? And we hold a digital exchange license issued by the Labuan FSA in Malaysia and have the established a multi-country compliant the framework. And GreenX is not only the technological innovators but also meet the rigorous the international financial standard in the compliance and the security. So where is the RWA sector in the development? That I believe we are the transitioning from the phase of the theoretical the exploration and early the experimentation into the period of the survey in the institutional adoption. And we move the path of what if, and now we showing the how. So the lead to the key the question, why have RWA become such a dominant active? And I see have the three the fundamental driver. And the first is about the institutional the demand of the years in the high interest rate environment, and the traditional finance is the active seeking a new invention and the yield generating assets. And the connecting asset like US Treasury the provide a similar blockchain the way to the asset this year. And the second is the blockchain the promise and the fulfill. And our industry has a long talk about bridging the physical and the digital world. And RWA is the tangible application of that vision. It's not longer just about the crypto native asset. It's about bringing trillions of dollars of the traditional value on chain, and creating the experiment in the liquidity and the asset liquidity. And the treasury is the maturation in the compliance. The group of RWA is the fundamentally tied to the robust and the regulatory framework. At GreenX, we build from the ground up with the compliance at our core, and holding the license like our digital exchange license from Labuan. Right, this providing a global the compliant infrastructure is what give the institution the confidence in the participate and turning a compelling the native into the viable and a $1 trillion asset class. For this question on whether in the institutional and the regulator are truly ready for RWA tokenization, and the evidence suggests we are moved beyond the readiness into the active investment. Then the readiness is not longer the theoretical. This is a demonstration by the production level deployment from the world's largest asset manager. And the BlackRock BUIDL fund for the instant and the growth into the multi-million dollar force in just over the year. And the regulator, the globally have the transition from the discussion to providing the observer for the framework. The EU MICA and the regulation is the fully effective. And the Singapore project, the Guardian, is coordinating like pilot with the major bank and the jurisdiction like the UAE introduced the experience rule for the digital security. And the groundwork for the institutional the scout activity is the firmly in space. And regarding with the asset, the category are the points for the breakout group. And the clear leader is the tokenized treasury bill and money market fund. This sector has exploited with the value tokenized US, right? Treasury showing from the 1.7 billion in 2024 to over 7.3 billion in 2025. The driver is a powerful, and the structure and the institution are the leveraging blockchain to solve cost efficiency in the traditional finance. And they are the assessing in the safety and the yield of governance security, but with the benefit of 24/7 day trading. And instead the settlement and the ability is to use this token as the programmable and the collateral in the DeFi and the repo transaction. Following closely behind are tokenized fund. Major asset managers are not just the tokenizing simple treasury, but entire fund the structures and the validating and the end-to-end model for the issuance transfer agency and using fund token as the collateral in the transaction. And conclusion is the effect is a build, the regulation are the operational, and the capital is the flowing. The breakout is not just a future event. It is happening now, and it's being led by tokenized US government debt. So while we make the incredible progress with the regulation and the institutional interest, I believe the most critical bottleneck is no longer a single issue, but a critical gap in interoperability. This gap exists on two levels. First, there's the technical, the interoperability between diverse blockchain network hosting their tokenized assets. And without seamless cross-chain the communication protocol, we risk creating the new isolated silo walled garden problem that the contradicted very promise of the unified and the global liquidity pool for RWA. And however, the more the profound the challenge is the legal and the procedural interoperability, the tokenized US Treasury pool and a piece of the real estate in Singapore and a private credit fund from the Europe all exist under different legal and jurisdiction and the traditional legal framework. And the critical bottleneck is how do we create seamless, legally sound process for action like the enforcing foreclosure on the tokenized property or claiming the collateral from the loan when they are even occur on the blockchain that exists outside any single nation border. So I think the legal the system were not not built for this. And the bottleneck is the slow, complex work for mapping real-world legal life and the remedies into the digital bearer asset in the way that the recognized and the enforceable the globally. This requires not just for the new technology, but if the collaboration between the regulator and the legal scholar and industry to build new close the jurisdictional and the legal framework until we solve this the dual level interoperability challenge and connecting both the chain and the courtroom, the achieving the true and the largest scale adoption with the remain and the difficult. So the good news is that the consortium and the forward the thinking the regulator are now the active working on this aspect problem, and overcoming is the next great the frontier on the RWA. So looking ahead, the RWA sector is poised to avoid the two key phases. And first, we will see the massive scaling of the current use case and the tokenization of governance, security, and the private credit will become a standard practice for major financial institutions. And moving from pilot to core part of their treasury management, this will be driven by neighbor under the neighbor and the efficiency gain in the settlement and the correctable the mobility. So the second and more the transformative is the move beyond the financial assets into the tokenization for everything from carbon credit and the intellectual property to find out and the supply chain invoice. This will unlock the liquidity for the entirely new asset class and the credit novel financial product. And the key will be the maturation for and the programmable privacy and allowing the sensitive commercial data to remain and confidential on the public records while the proving ownership and compliance. At GreenX, our development is the next 6 months is precisely aligned with this vision. Our key milestone in the launch of our digital RWA insurance platform and the design the specifically for the enterprises and the asset originator. This platform will simply the legal and the technical process of bringing real-world assets on chain. And following this, we will onboard the first phase of the tokenized private credit and the real estate fund from the Southeast Asia region, and focusing on the assets that have the traditionally suffered from the illiquidity. And concurrently, we are rooming up groundbreaking correctional the management system. This will be allow institutions to use this newly the tokenized RWA as across the margin, the corrector, and across our entire exchange ecosystem. And finally, unlocking the trade value in these assets. So our roadmap is clear to not just predict the future of the finance, but to build is institution the infrastructure and starting with the seamless, compliant, and the liquid RWA tokenization.